Hello, my name is Nicolas, and I will present to you three modules made by us. One is OpenID Connect, the other one is Enrollment, and the last one is Selenium. It's not this. It's for the Selenium framework, but it's an IcingaWeb2 module, so you can run. Yeah, I will talk about it later. So our agenda. The first thing about me. The second about RISE. Then I will tell you how these modules are going to extend IcingaWeb2 and which tools they are used. And then there are modules. There's one surprise. It's one LSHW, where you can, well, I will talk about it later. One named Enrollment, one OpenID Connect, and the last Selenium, and then there will be a demo. All of these modules you can get on GitHub. First about me, my name is Nicolas Schneider, aka More Amazing Nick, if you know me from the community forum. Who of you are active in the Icinga community? Perfect. More than I expected. I work in monitoring since 2022, and I studied medical computer science. And well, the name Amazing Nick was already taken on GitHub, so it's More Amazing Nick. RISE stands for Resolve Industrial Systems Engineering, and we are a spin-off of the Technical University of Vienna. We are active in architecture, safety engineering, and software development, and these software services need to be monitored, and Icinga is a perfect tool for that. Our headquarters is in Austria, in Vienna and Schwechat, and well, there are also offices in several countries, and these are some of products we are involved in. Okay, so how is IcingaWeb2 extensible? You can first you can write your own modules. So you don't have to start from zero. You can also extend other modules. You reuse the code, you copy some classes, and later I can also show you how you can change behavior of other modules. IcingaWeb2 also provides hooks for you, where you can do your code at specific places in other modules. The Icinga director uses a lot of hooks. And here are some hooks I use. The service action hook. If you notice from your monitoring or IcingaDB module, there is this problem handling section, and there are links to like modify if you're using director or inspect. These are provided by a service action hook or a host action hook. The data migration hook is the nice hook that gets you like the upgrades for your database directly in IcingaWeb2, where you click on migrate and everything is finished. I will also use a health hook. If you notice on Icinga, if the Icinga service is down or IcingaDB or Redis, then you get this warning on the bottom, and this is done via health hook. I also use the plugin output hook, where you can manipulate the output of a check plugin in IcingaWeb2. And the service detail extension hook, or detail extension hook in the old monitoring module, where you can add custom formatted parts under the plugin check output. I will show you that later. And your modules can also provide hooks, and I've created a login modifier hook that can be used to edit the login module. I will show you why we need that later. You can also extend your IcingaWeb2 by providing CLI actions that are not yet implemented because, well, nobody needed them. Like get me a host from IcingaDB. Yeah, you can write it on your own, or some special API requests. And you can also provide your own themes via module. Okay, one module, list hardware. I wanted something like that on the bottom of the page. It's from the vSphere-DB module, and I wanted it like get it directly from the host. And I found this LSHW. it's sorry, LSHW, and it's switched on the slide. And this is a Linux command, and it has a parameter -JSON, and then you get a JSON out of it. Okay, so we use that command. Then I noticed that I tried to use the plugin output hook to render this nice tree, because JSON, you can manipulate that and create a class to interpret that as a tree. And yeah, that broke something, because the plugin output is actually used somewhere else too, and it's not a good idea to do that there. So the different attempt was to use the plugin output hook to render something plugin output render to detail view, and then the detail extension hook to render this tree. And yeah, this both of these hooks, you have to know the command, or you have to have some idea how to prevent other commands to render that. And yeah, that's why I took something from the Jira module, so you can create your command that is actually executed directly from the module. I will show you that later. And yeah, this would be the output. So you get all your system informations directly as a host check command or as a service check command, and you can like see how much CPUs you have and how much memory, and actually also the partitions. Yeah. Short question: who thinks this is actually useful? Perfect. Yeah. This was the Jira command. If you recognize that from Jira, and the special thing down there, which is barely readable, that's actually a PowerShell command. So I've rewritten that in a kind of way that the PowerShell also outputs this information. So this also works on Windows. Yeah, so you get this for Windows too by using PowerShell and get CIM instance, because there is actually no LSHW on Windows. Yeah, another module named Enrollment. And there is a story behind that. How many of you have been asked to create a new user for IcingaWeb2? Okay, not that many. All of you use LDAP. Perfect. Okay, but normally you say yes, I can create a user, and what user group do you need? And here's your initial password, and please change it immediately. And sometimes this never happens. So what about LDAP? There's a problem using LDAP, because if my LDAP is down or not reachable, I'm locked out of my monitoring. So I still need a local user. It would be a good idea to have one to actually debug why my LDAP is down. And yeah, let's create some users in the IcingaWeb2 database for that, using IcingaWeb2 backends. And the outcome was something like that. So you can create a new user enrollment by name. You can also provide an email address. In IcingaWeb2, you also can have multiple user backends, multiple databases. So that's considered too. You can define a user backend and a group backend, and you can add groups for that. And there's a great thing about that, because you can add, if you're not an unrestricted user, you can only add groups that you're already in. So you, for example, a team leader could enroll team members. It would be a great idea. So you can put groups in that, and you can also allow a password reset. So if the user is already created, it will not be recreated. Yeah. So you can use that to reset the user's password, because actually that will be sent via mail, or you can also copy the URL and send it send it manually by I don't know, Teams, notification Teams or something. Yeah. And another thing would be OpenID Connect. Who of you tried to implement OpenID Connect for IcingaWeb2? Was it nice to do that? Did it work? Okay, there's an easier solution for that. Okay, so my problem was, can IcingaWeb2 do OpenID Connect? Yes, using this external auth. Yeah, and every year there's someone in the community forum asking how to configure that, and I didn't want to be the next one. And there are also some withdrawals, because if you're using, for example, direct to self-service API, you have to make, you have to exclude that, or you have some special API from your special module, you have to exclude that too. So why not build a module and leave the rest of the Icinga authentication in place? Okay, and something from modules I've learned to create that. Last year at, well, I think it was OSMC, I presented monitoring backports, where you can actually change a module's behavior with your own module. So you just rewrite a route to your module, and then you do your stuff, and then you let the other module do the rest. It works pretty well, because we need that later for the authentication controller. The module Enrollment showed me something about the IcingaWeb2 user backend, and the module Impersonate, actually how you can log in a user without knowing its password, and then the IPL, that's not from us, that's from Icinga. It uses Composer. You don't want to write everything yourself. I will get to that. So, is OpenID Connect, the module uses Composer to get, the other way around. Composer is a package manager for PHP. If you don't want to write something yourself, there's most likely a package for that. Some special API, you want to access, I don't know, InfluxDB, there is a package for that. And this one was from JumboJet and OpenID Connect PHP, and for the test this worked out of the box. I used TextIDP and as an identity provider, and I could authenticate to that. Okay, now OpenID Connect has one withdrawal. I can't get all the user groups, but I can claim them for the user. So the idea was, okay, we claim them during login and store it in the database. So actually, later on we get a database for all groups that are available from the identity provider. Okay, I've mentioned there is this Icinga authentication controller, and this is doing the login basically, and we inherit from that in order to add a small button down there that you already know, if I log in with Google or something like that, because the authentication goes to the identity provider and then back to IcingaWeb2, and back using a new action called Realm, where you can add a name for your OpenID instance, and spoiler alert, you can use multiple OpenID Connect instances. So I don't know, use login with Google, login with Facebook, login with whatever. Yeah, since we now own the authentication controller, we can add this nice button, redirect to the Realm action, and then we're doing the OpenID Connect magic from the classes we installed using Composer. And yeah, if the user is authenticated, we can request all the groups from the server. We can create the user in our database, create the groups, and we can assign the user to the groups. Yeah, and that would be the interface for that. You define a name, It doesn't work. You define a name and the URL where you get redirected to. OpenID Connect uses a secret. You have to input that too. You have to define an app name on your OpenID instance, and also you have to add it here. You can also add groups to sync if you don't want all OpenID Connect groups in your database. I don't know, you want like something group admin or group support. You can also add a required group. If the user is not in that group, you will refuse him immediately. And you can also add some username blacklists, because the username will be that one provided by OpenID Connect, and maybe you don't want to let it interfere with your local admin. The last part, you can add a logo and some button colors and a caption text and enable it, and your OpenID Connect is set up. Yeah, there is also something else, because most likely your OpenID Connect username will maybe differ from your local username, and as I mentioned, local users are pretty important. We had one case where the OpenID Connect was not working, so okay, we still need to log into the instance. If a user is created, you can actually map it to a local user and to a backend. So you are the same user as you would be logging with your local credentials, which makes your local credentials also like usable for API requests or something like that. And yeah, that would be all. You update the user. If the user logs in, it's the same as this name. Yeah, who is going to use that? Perfect.
Where can I find it?
On GitHub. There will be a QR code at the end. One more thing, there's another module on GitHub called login hooks. This would be used if you like using multiple elements you have to render under your login form. But if you don't use it at all, if you don't have your own module implementing these login hooks, then you don't have to use that. So the OpenID Connect module works on its own. It's the same code. Yeah, the next module is called IcingaWeb2 minus module minus Selenium. And there's also another title for this slide, because I wanted to know how I can acquire the community badge for 100 consecutive days of visiting. There is one for that. I think 4 people have it. Would be nice. Okay. Selenium, if you remember the talk by Sumaya, you know that's a testing framework for websites. So it would be nice to use this automated user behavior for maybe some Icinga checks. And like the Chrome driver, it can control a browser. The Selenium browser extension can create your test cases. If you click on a button, then it will recognize that's the button you want to click on, and how to find it via ID or class. Then there is an extension you install that is installed via Composer. It's called PHP WebDriver. That's the library that will communicate with the Chrome WebDriver. And yeah, let's put that all together. But why we will put it together? There are classic check plugins like check curl, check HTTP, or HTTP version 2. But all of these plugins, they can't handle like user interaction or clicking on something or JavaScript or I don't know, sending a form, contact form or something like that. They are great for API checks or content checks or HTTP status codes, but well, can't do JavaScript and can't click on something. Okay, so that would be the interface for the Selenium module. I will show it later that that you click your actually test suite. You click in your around in your browser, save it, and then you paste just the text into the data field. You add a name, you enable or disable it. There is a feature where you can actually reference an object that's used if you run this test manually, that you can reference host variables or something like that. But you can also run this check via CLI. You can say, I want to run this Selenium check for the host, I don't know, local host, and then variables set in the host or service can be used. I can show you that later, but you have to use generic and reference an object, so the test would not fail if you accidentally click on it. The right part is actually a Selenium test. Actually, it's this test. It's log into the Icinga community forum. Yeah. If you use something like a password, I tried to remove that from the output, and yeah, this would be the Selenium check that will run every day to log me in the community forum. Okay, and some features, as you have seen previously, you can take a screenshot after each test, after each step, and you can also add, you can also see the duration, reference Icinga objects, and what is currently implemented. If you have seen it in the last presentation, there's a set window size. That's actually important because you can only click on something that's actually there. There is the open command where you can access a page, type and send keys, wait for an element present, assert element present, verify element present, and everything that's like not of that. And everything else is not implemented, so you don't have loops or ifs. But if you need them, I can maybe try to implement that. But most of the time it would not be necessary because you only want to do like a very small test. It takes some time to access a page. You don't want to run out of your don't want to run into an execution timeout for your IcingaWeb2. So keep it super simple, or keep it simple stupid. Yeah. What is used in this Selenium module? I use this service action hook because I write, it's not perfectly correct, but I write the ID of my Selenium run into as a performance value, and by this way I can access it as a Icinga action hook URL. So you click on that and you get directly to your test run and can check what's wrong in detail. Or look at the screenshots. There is the database migration hook. So if there is an update for the database, you just click on migrate and it should be done. And also the health hook, because the Selenium WebDriver is, let's say it has to be a similar version to your Chrome instance. Otherwise this can sometimes stop to work. So there is a hook that checks that these versions are correct. And there is one for the WebDriver instance in case this one actually stops. So you can also restart it via web interface. Yeah, and yeah, I should be about around 70 consecutive logins. Yeah, some limitations. You're going to run Chrome headless on your web server. You already do that if you're using the reporting and PDF export module. And yeah, this costs a lot of resources. So a login check every 5 seconds for 100 web services would probably be a bad idea. Or you want to kill your server, then it's a good idea. Yeah. So keep in mind that it's expensive to use, but for small applications, it will be really helpful. Okay. So now there is the demo. With which module should we start? Okay. OpenID Connect. Selenium. Okay, let's start with Selenium because it's already open. So that is the Selenium module. Technical problems.
Still have time, so no worries.
The presentation doesn't stop. Okay. That's the Selenium module. What I forgot to mention is that it actually has implementations for IcingaDB and IDO. So you can choose which backend you want to use in case you haven't migrated yet. There is the Selenium site that explains you what Selenium is and where you can get the browser extension, and you have information about your service and your Chrome driver. You can add a project because maybe you want not all of your users to see your Selenium test suites and test runs. So all of these get a project, like here. And as I previously mentioned, this is a check that will run out of the box, so there are no custom variables in it. And this would be one that reference an Icinga object. Like here. And if we run that, because these test suites contain more, also this Selenium test suite contain tests, these tests contain more tests, you can actually click on what you want to run, but we run all of that, and now we access the Open Source Monitoring Conference website with a very small resolution, but this will still work. There is a form at the end, and we say hi from OSMC, and there is our host name. So you can use, I don't know, login data from your objects or something like that, and send custom messages, try out your forms, yeah, and that would be that. That would be just the one without the host name. You can also access every old check. You can. There's also a function to clean that up, so you can remove all the screenshots, and then it would be just the text. Okay. We can do, yeah. Some bad news, the Chrome extension is currently deprecated and does not work anymore, but the Fireworks extension runs fine. So that would be something like that. Record a new test, give it a name, add a URL, start recording, then it will open it in a browser, then you click on some parts, then later that's bad idea with the resolution. Okay, but there would be a button on the bottom like stop test. Then you can here, but this is not a presentation of the Selenium part. You can here change how to actually get these elements, delete something. Then you export it. You get a file called .site, and then you can place your own content in there and replace all your all your things you need to put into variables. Okay. Then there would be, well, that would be an easy one. LSHW. Yeah, and the module. If you previously used the Jira module from Icinga, there is this nice menu to actually create commands in Icinga Director. Just to click on Sync to Director, and then all your commands are there. You have to add your services, and the module will detect the rest. So there are two services, two commands available, three commands available: LSHW, LSHW unprivileged, and LSHW -win. Yeah. This one needs sudo permissions. It's in the documentation. You can add your Nagios or Icinga user to the sudoers list for accessing this command passwordless, and then this would work out of the box. Otherwise, you have to use that. There's not that much information. Okay. Then the enrollment. There's actually a user enrollment here. Enrollments can also expire, but let's create some for, the user is actually OSMC. Okay, create a user Icinga at localhost. It's in this database. The group will be administrators. Enrollment is enabled. We create that. If I would use, well, I'm unrestricted, so no. Then you can send the email. You can configure your email settings in the module. It uses the same technology as your reporting module, so you need some relay or something, a mail relay to get it to work. But there is also this copy link, which opens a new window where you can copy the link, not to use JavaScript for that. And if we have that, we get the user Icinga. Don't worry, you can't use the form to edit the user and create something else. It will be referenced again later, and we give it a password Icinga and one more, and click on register, and user enrolled successfully. Go back to login, Icinga, and we are the user Icinga. And the same would be possible with the user password reset, that you send the new link. After that, enrollment is disabled, and there's no expired enrollment. Yeah. That's enabled. Yeah, the OpenID Connect. You have already seen how these things get configured. Now I have this nice button with the OSMC logo, login with TextIDP. I click on that. I get to this page. I think it's customizable too. I can use login with email. Can't remember the password right now, but there is also this feature with login with example. So this is previously set. So it asks me what it wants to access. Access the basic profile information, my email address, and it wants to view the groups. I can say grant access, and this user actually has no permissions to access the enrollment module. So we are here in the dashboard and have no permissions. Now we can go back to the module, and let's say the OpenID user should be Icinga. On the backend, IcingaWeb2. We update the user. We log out, log in with example, grant access, and we are the user Icinga, which previously mapped to this user from the TextIDP. Okay, that's one thing you can use, but the module also creates a backend for that. Please don't edit the settings, but there is also there's the user backend. This is the same name, so you get here all your groups, and also you can access the groups similar to the LDAP feature. And for the access control, it creates a user backend on your group backend. Please don't edit that. There's also a message for that. That you shouldn't do that. These settings get overwritten. They are necessary to get it to work, and are overwritten each time you save your OpenID Connect provider. Yeah. Enrollment. Selenium. Did I forget something? LSHW. Back to the slides. Yeah, it's about that. Okay. Where to get that? You can actually get most of the things from our company repository. That's the QR code to the left. Or you search for RISE GmbH. That sounds crazy. Or you can use my GitHub repository for the scaffold builder and LSHW. The scaffold builder is a module that helps you build modules, and it is used for all of that. Okay. Do you have any questions?
There was a question.
Yeah, you just said there will be a backend created for OpenID Connect.
Yes.
What backend are you using? Do you use like a SQLite or something?
All the things are written in a MySQL or MariaDB database, but the backend is the one that you normally would configure in IcingaWeb2, but it's not. It just tells the rest of the logic that these users are actually in these groups and in a kind of logic that IcingaWeb2 is going to understand.
All right.
So you don't have to touch anything there, but your database backend, actually right now it's MySQL, but I think that will not be that case. These create statements are not that complicated, so Postgres would be an option too.
Okay, thank you.
Or SQLite, if you want.
Anybody else? If not, I have a question. You talked about Selenium and that it's quite heavy on the machine because of the Chrome engine and whatnot. Yes. So some official Icinga modules even use a dedicated agent, I want to say, that runs separate to the PHP code. Have you thought about this kind of architecture?
Not yet. Actually, this started like a proof of concept just to render one page, and then I thought let's give it a little bit more, an interpreter for the Selenium browser extension. But not now. It's not red. The idea is not to like distribute that on multiple nodes.
Just a question.
But actually, it would be possible since the command could be executed for everything. Yes.
Anyone else? If not, then again, big applause. Thank you very much.